How do we learn how to love? Just a few days ago, I adopted a cat. I met a dozen of those little guys at the shelter. Turns out he was the only actual stray. Saw a lot of wear and tear in his eyes, and I loved him. When I brought him home, he ran into the bed to hide, and there he stayed. How was I supposed to convince an animal who had been hurt his whole life that I was different, that this was his home, and that I was his friend? How do you convince someone that you love them? I spent most of high school dating the same girl. Used to stay up on the phone for hours and talk about hopes and dreams, and even more thrilling, we talked about our fears, what we wished to never become. Eventually, we graduated and ended up going to the same college. Suddenly, we weren't long distance, and suddenly all of our promises took on a much different weight. She broke up with me. To me, it came out of nowhere. A betrayal. It took me a while to realize that for her, it wasn't sudden at all. I think it's worth mentioning that I cheated on this girl multiple times. A few times it was just emotional. Other times I kissed people. Never more than a kiss, mind you, but it doesn't make it any better. I know there's no excuse for cheating, and I don't mean to excuse myself, but I was in high school. Can all those mistakes I made just be written off as dumb things a 17-year-old did? I remember something I heard about cheating on someone. I heard that it ruins a person's idea of love, that they have to relearn the entire concept. Yeah, that doesn't help the guilt. Luckily, her social media shows me that she's in a loving relationship now, something that I'm very happy about. Love is like the ultimate equalizer, right? People need people. Love is love and all that, I guess, but I still have such a hard time understanding it, this imaginary thing that we're all able to give out to whoever we choose. My next partner was a woman that I ended up living with for a year. There was a level of intimacy we reached very quickly, which I guess just happens when you sleep in the same bed every night. She was adventurous and hard not to like. She was charming in that rare sort of way. Me and her had fights that I'd never had with a partner before. None of that is to say that our relationship didn't mean anything. People are too quick to write off relationship. At one point in your life, that person was everything. That means something. It has to, right? Otherwise, it's wasted time, wasted tears, wasted love. Can we run out of love? Burn out and turn into something devoid? It'd be wrong not to mention how things ended with her. We were drifting and I kissed some dude at a party, and she heard. You know what's messed up about that night? I saw her best friend there, and I knew I would get snitched on, and I still kissed him. Maybe that's why I kissed him. Self-sabotage. I'm a child of divorce, I guess, but I grew up with love in my house. Abundant love. It was a constant. Maybe it can all be chalked up to toxic masculinity, right? I have a lot of internalized rules for myself about not looking weak, about not crying. I go months between crying, and it's like I can feel myself well up. How do I drain that abscess? How do I admit to someone else the things that I'm too scared to tell myself? How am I even allowed to love? How am I allowed to hurt people like that? It's irresponsible. It's disgusting. No one deserves one-sided, unspoken love. Love should be powerful and loud. And why is it so terrifying? I want to talk about my most recent relationship. We fell for each other in a poetry class. I know, it's pretty cheesy. I used to walk her to her car after and we'd just talk. She was sweet. Always. We started dating, and as things got more serious, I got scared. I was meeting family and friends, and we started to share things that became ours instead of mine or hers. We were falling in love, and she told me so. I broke up with her. Closest thing I've had to a healthy breakup at this point in my life, but it didn't stay that way. A few weeks later, she reached out to me, asked to hook up. I said yes, and we did, and of course I regretted it. Maybe sex can just be sex, but not with someone like that, someone who loves you. We would meet up, get dinner, talk about all the things that we missed about each other, and then we'd sleep together and part ways. A week or two ago, we started talking again, and we met up. She told me she still loved me, and she wanted us to take that chance again. I agreed, but over the next few days, the same anxiety came rushing back. I know how easy it is to ruin something. I told her how I felt, and we parted ways, for the last time, I think. How is love so powerful if things can fall apart like that? How do we forget our regret? Or I guess, should we? Or is that just a part of love? Regret.